Every time you mention another case like Kavanaugh, I remember how many there are. There's so many stories. So I think when we started having conversations about Me Too, we went to the first place that most people do, which is that it's about assault or harassment. And you pointed out that it's really about power.
Power has always underlined sexual assault, period. But it hasn't really necessarily been something we've talked about as we're talking about it now. It started with the Weinstein story, which was so explosive, but in a way, what happened after Weinstein on social media with the Me Too hashtag really was a culmination of so many media stories that had gone back, right? I mean, in Canada, particularly back to Ghomeshi.
The Ghomeshi trial was probably the start of thinking about what is now the Me Too movement. In a lot of people's minds and in public discussion and in their living room.
A lot of Me Too has been about how media, particularly, has lifted the veil on how these guys got away with it.
I think people have a lot of real fear about Me Too and how it's handled, because it's a powerful hashtag and it's a powerful accusation once you lob it at someone. So a lot of the work that we've done at the Walrus is in being transparent about how we report things.
Yeah, for me, I think the awakening was the Ghomeshi trial, which I covered, and we saw an awakening of how we talk about sexual assault more broadly, just the language that we use.
When Ansari happened, it was talking about personal relationships, dating.
So that people could relate to.
People could relate to it.
Yeah.
And also it exposed this vast category of experience in our culture that really isn't talked about that much.
You know, the coverage of the Ansari case in itself became sort of a textbook into the different ways we perceived this, what we saw the primary issues as being, and also just, again, this sort of the idea of the Me Too continuum was really established in a way with that story, and a lot of people were saying, well, what he did is not the same as Weinstein, and that we were conflating everything, and it became a way to attack the movement more generally, and also the way media was covering it.
If you're doing your job right as a journalist, it's very hard to bring anything to light without serious consideration and vetting. And I think that's something that these new books that have come out by Ronan Farrow and by Jodi Kantor and Megan Toohey have really demonstrated.